All right, so double check, make sure you are on Module 3, Lesson 18. Lesson 18. So this is one of our last lessons for this module before we take the end of module assessment. So today we're going to be solving some distance problems on the coordinate plane, and we're going to use that old idea of absolute value, or a number's distance from zero, to help us show how we find those solutions. So let's take a look at this. We're going to start with a map, and we have these four friends who are traveling on motorcycles, and they come to a crossroads. They come to an intersection, which, oddly enough, looks a lot like our coordinate plane. So they come to this intersection, and they see a sign. They see a sign, and it tells them where Albertsville is located. It tells them where Blossville is located, Cheyenne, Dewey Falls, all of that. So they come to the intersection, they see this sign. Let's go ahead and see if we can take this sign and put it on our coordinate plane. So imagine I get to this spot right here. So here we are, we're at the intersection. So I guess we could put you are here. And that's where we see this sign. That's where we see this sign. It says Albertsville is left 8 miles. So that makes me think that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here is Albertsville, 8 miles to the left. It says Blossville is 3 miles forward. So that makes me think 1, 2, 3. Blossville, 3 miles forward. It also says, though, that another town is in front of us. It says Cheyenne is 12 miles forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I had to go off my coordinate plane a little bit there. I had to go off a little bit, maybe extend your line if you didn't fit. And there's Cheyenne, and they're 12 miles up. So I might label these just so I'm certain here. This is 12 miles forward. This one is 3 miles forward. And then Albertsville was 8 miles to the left. And then finally, if we turn right, we would see Dewey Falls 6 miles to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So D for Dewey Falls, 6 miles to the right. So if the first question asks us, what's the distance between Albertsville and Dewey Falls? Well, let's look at where they are. Here's Albertsville. Here's Dewey Falls. I can count to figure this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But this isn't actually 8. We would think of this as -8 because it's to the left. So really, essentially what we're doing is we're figuring out, well, what's this distance, right? What's this distance? And what's this distance? And we can add them together. So what I'm essentially doing is I'm taking the absolute value of Albertsville. Ooh, I'm gonna redo this. We don't need to take up that much space. I'm gonna say the absolute value of Albertsville, which is -8, and I'm gonna add it to the absolute value of Dewey Falls, which is right there. The absolute value of that and the absolute value of that. So when I do this, I would see, well, what's the absolute value of -8? It's 8. What's the absolute value of 6? It's 6. So the final answer here is they are 14 miles apart. What's the distance between them? 14 miles. 14 miles. So we add those two together. And we can go back and we can use our coordinate plane to prove it. If I go here and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it works out. So I urge you to try to do the same thing for question 2 here, Blossville and Cheyenne, and see if you can do that on your own. So pause, try to do that on your own, and then come back to me in just a second. All right, so Blossville and Cheyenne. Well, let's use our coordinate plane and figure this out first. So if I look here, here's 3. It looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 9 away. So it looks like when they're on the same side, if I add these two absolute values together, look what happens. The absolute value of 12 plus the absolute value of 3, that does not equal 9. They are not 9 away according to this. So if I do it, it would end up being 12 plus 3. Are they 15 away? Absolutely not. But they're on the same side. These two are not on the same side of the origin or where we're at in our intersection. These two are. So I'm going to take them, and instead of adding them, I'm going to subtract them. So I'm going to take the absolute value of 12. I'm going to subtract the absolute value of 3. Absolute value of 12 obviously is 12. Absolute value of 3, obviously 3. So we end up with 15 miles. Sorry, not 15. That's what we said it wasn't. 9 miles. So they are 9 miles apart. Again, you can go back and double check with your number line and make sure. You wouldn't want to make a silly mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're clearly 9 apart, not 15. So you have to watch out. Are they on the same side? If so, subtract them. If they're on different sides, go ahead and add those distances together. And so then the last question asks us, what on the coordinate plane is represented by the intersection of the two roads? So take a look back at your word wall. What is this point right here? What is our intersection? That should be called our origin. Our origin. All right, so moving on, go back and pause if you need to, but otherwise I'm going to go on to stretch 1 and stretch 2. Stretch 1 and stretch 2, let's see here. It says consider the points -4, 0, and 5, 0. So why don't you double check, make sure you got those numbers plotted correctly first. So -4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, and 5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. So again, those are our points. They have zeros in them, so they are not moving off of the axis, they're going right on it. The first question asks you, well, see if you can work through those on your own. Pause, pause, pause. Work through just these 3 questions on your own, and then come back and check in about 1 or 2 minutes. All right, so hopefully you've had a chance to try this on your own. It says, what do the ordered pairs have in common? Well, they have in common, they have the same y coordinate, or the same y value. So how would you describe their locations? They are on a vertical line. They're on a vertical line. Ooh, that's not right. Vertical line would be up and down. Change that vertical, change that, erase it, because I have a pen. Change it to horizontal. Change it to horizontal. They're clearly on a flat horizontal line. So again, let me go ahead and refocus that, let you get that for a second. They have the same y value, they are on a horizontal line. So how did we find the distance between the numbers in the opening exercise? We used absolute value and we counted. Those are our 2 strategies we used. So let's use both of those methods here. So let's count first, double check. So if I'm at -4 and I've got to get all the way over to 5, that means I have to go a distance of 4 here, a distance of 5 there. So that's a total distance of 9. So obviously we're going to take our absolute values and add them here. So I'm going to take the absolute value of 4, add it to the absolute value of 5. And what does that equal? Well, absolute value of -4 is 4. Absolute value of 5 is 5. It's 9 away, just like we confirmed when we counted. So I would urge you to pause the video here or go back and rewatch it if you need to, and try stretch 2 now on your own. Try stretch 2 on your own. All right, so go ahead and take a look at this next one. It says to plot a line with these 2 points. So I can see, just like in the first example, these are now on the same side. Let's see what they have in common this time. So let's see. It's obviously a vertical line is what they form, but let's think about what they have in common. They have the same x value and both negative, the same x value and both negative y values. So if I want to find the distance between these 2 points, let's take a look and see what's going to happen here. Well, here are my points. What's the distance between them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't look like I'm adding this time. I've got this absolute value of 11, and I'm going to take out the absolute value of negative 6. I'm going to take this and I'm going to remove it. So I'm not adding these distances together this time. I'm going to subtract them. So I'm going to take the absolute value of negative 11 and subtract the absolute value of negative 6 and see if I get this answer of 5. And again, if you didn't get this, you could always go back and experiment and try things and see what you get. But absolute value of negative 11 is 11. Absolute value of negative 6 is 6. When I finally subtract those, obviously these 2 points are 5 units apart.